Good morning, students. We are discussing the Gauss law for electric charges or electric fields. What is the Gauss law states? Repeat that point once again. What we completed in the previous class. Gauss is the name of scientist. According to the Gauss law, the net flux to those surface is nothing but equal to 1 by epsilon naught times total charge inside the closed surface. The closed surface is called as a Gaussian surface. But net flux is also equal to closed integral E dot ds. Integration means addition of summation. So small one areas, total areas, electricity if we add up the total area what we are getting is related to this right hand part of the equation. Left side part is between net flux and also charge inside the closed surface. So you take the closed surface, any charges are present inside Q1, Q2, etc. You take this Q in. Q in is nothing but equal to Q1 plus Q2. If minus is there, Q3 minus Q3. Take plus means plus, minus means minus, algebraic again. And electric field is because of the inside charges and also due to outside charges. But Q in is not because of the outside charges, it's only because of inside charges. Next is E dot ds. E dot ds also becomes equal to, you can also write like this, E into ds into cos theta. Theta is the angle between E and ds area. For this closed surface, if you take small area, E part anywhere ds, and electric field lines are going like this. And the normal surface is in this direction, then angle will be is 2 is nothing but equal to theta only. If electric field and normal in the same direction, theta becomes equal to 0 because 0 is 1, then you get the maximum flux limited. Already we have discussed the flux and electric field relation. Electric flux and electric field relation. Next is this is the vacuum case. In case if it is Gauss law is asked for the medium, not in the theory examination but only for competition. But if any medium is present in the child of the surface means epsilon naught multiplied with epsilon r or k, that is directly constant. Gauss law, we are thinking is proof or derivation. It can be asked whether there is proof or derivation. This is for electric charges or electric fields. Gauss law for electric charges. Proof or derivation. That formula just what is the derivation. You have to take the consider the point charge derivation plus respective also in space. Then we consider the imaginary sphere around it. Then you take the imaginary charge in space, no other charge is present means isolated charge, and this is a charge. I construct a sphere around it, imaginary sphere. The sphere is a closed surface, three-dimensional surface that forms a Gaussian surface. Imagine a sphere of radius equal to r, point charge, and this is equal to radius r. And this surface, imagine small surface area ds, and this ds vector is normal to surface. Is nothing but equal to ds bar electric or n cap. Electric is also electron positive charge, therefore it will be in this direction, same direction. It is nothing but equal to electric. This is also taken as a ds bar or it will be taken as n cap. So ds bar or n cap and electric are same direction, theta becomes equal to 0. Small surface area. Consider point charge plus q in space. Then what we do is we construct a sphere. Construct a imaginary sphere. Construct an imaginary sphere. Sphere of radius r. Can take it capital or small. Of radius r with the charge q at center. Q at center means concentrating. So it's called the concentrating center. Then what is surface area becomes equal to? Surface area becomes equal to, but the sphere surface area is nothing equal to 4 pi r square. And this sphere itself we consider it as a Gaussian surface. Now, closed surface is Gaussian surface, and charge is inside the Gaussian surface. Is that right? Gaussian surface. And in this case it is here. The derivation for the derivative is here. Flux, net flux through the closed surface. What is this closed surface now? It is a Gaussian surface. Gaussian sphere or Gaussian surface is flux is equals to, it's a net only one kind of charge is there, so no need to give one to not there. So phi 1 phi 2 phi 3 not required. Just like net flux means phi only is equals to E closed interval E dot ds, which is equals to closed interval E into ds into cos t, but theta equal to 0 degrees, hence since E and ds are in the same direction, because V bar comma ds bar or L cap are in same direction. This ds bar will be taken as L cap into ds, where L cap is unit vector along ds bar perpendicular surface. Perpendicular to surface ds. ds is a small surface here. If you go to bar, it's just a scalar voltage. So that formula for flux becomes equal to, now cos 0 is 1, theta equal to 0, cos 0 is 1. So what you get here is flux equal to E into integration of ds. Therefore, flux is equals to closed interval E into dx into cos 0. Cos 0 is 1, and it is E into integration of closed interval of ds. But closed interval of ds is a particular A, that is total area of sphere. Here ds equal to A is total surface area of sphere. What is total surface area of the sphere? Is A equal to 4 pi r square. A equal to 4 pi r square. Substituting this formula, we get yes. Therefore, net flux is equals to E into integration of ds is equal to E. But what is the electric field? Electric field into isolated charge at the distance r. E is nothing but equal to, but E equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon into the charge by distance. Put the value here. That is flux equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon into r square into area is 4 pi r square. 4 pi cancels. R square cancels. Therefore, what I get out is equal to Q by epsilon r. This is cost. This is the value you are getting. Just to substitute the electric field formula, we already know flux and electric field relationship. So electric flux definition from that we are getting the expression from the Gauss law. So Gauss law is not separate, right? It is only the expression which is modified form from the electric flux and electric field relationship. So net flux phi origin will take also Q by epsilon. This is Gauss law. And this is the asked for the mass function. Derive expression for Gauss law. To derive Gauss law जैसे आप proof for Gauss law. Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface. Definition, one more question. First, it is a three-dimensional closed surface. It is a three-dimensional closed surface to which Gauss law is applied. Three-dimensional surface. But mentioning three-dimensional is not necessary. You can simply say it's a closed surface to which Gauss law is applied. Three-dimensional, I am giving extra, but it's not mentioned in the textbook also. You have to know that it's not a two-dimensional, it is a three-dimensional. Three-dimensional means it can be cube, sphere, it can be any shape. Gaussian surface can be of any shape and any size also. Examples of the Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface can be of any shape and size. Can be of any shape and size. Example: sphere. Need not be really existing sphere. It can be imaginary sphere. Just now I take imaginary sphere. I take the charge here, imagination. Around the distance equal to r, I can construct imaginary sphere. So this is going to be Gaussian surface. I can take the radius any values. Okay. I need not take a sphere. I can take a cylinder also. I take the charge here. Charge is inside. I imagine the cylinder around it like this, around it. Then that is also Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface can be irregular shape also, not composed of regular ones. But for regular ones, easy to calculate. Irregular ones, difficult to calculate by this one. Examples: sphere, cylinder, cylindrical shape. They can be real or imaginary. Next is properties and limitations or conditions of Gauss law and Gaussian surface. Properties of Gauss. They don't ask separately for the properties actually. One more question, one of them they answer. We could use one other points, but not as many the properties. The Gauss law also there. Equation. Gauss law is net flux over the surface is equals to flux out minus flux A, which is equals to U inside by epsilon, which is also equal to closed interval E dot these conditions or these based on this expressions. Gaussian surface, same point that we discussed just now, example. Surface any of any shape, size, but it must be closed surface. It must be a closed surface. Charge can be anywhere inside the Gaussian surface. Anyway, it can be center, it can be side, same application, right? Charge to each other only we need to answer. This is the regular surface. Q1, Q2, both side is Q3, Q4, minus 2, plus 2, plus Q2, minus 2, in instance the Gaussian surface. Insert the Gaussian surface. Charge can vary by insert the Gaussian surface. And if you change the position also does not affect the result. In case they generally ask one more question is the update in competitive exams. Sphere is taken of radius equal to r. Charge is there inside is 2. Okay, what they did is they doubled the size of the sphere. That's Gaussian sphere. Size double. When the double size is there, what happened to the flux or electric field? Charge is same. The charge is same, flux is also same. No extra charges are there inside. No additional charges are coming. Same charge is there. So in that cases you will get that the Q is not changed and the net flux also will not change. So it will be the remaining same. They may say Q also. Instead of the sphere, they may take the Q. A Q is taken and inside the Q, charge is there plus Q1 or plus 2 and dimensions of the Q are doubled. Size increase. What happened to the flux? Do not change because charge is same. Charge can be anywhere inside the Gaussian surface. But what the important thing is, charge is a Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface must not pass through the discrete charge, but it can pass through continuous distribution of the charge. Gaussian surface must not pass through the discrete charge. Means through the charge, but it can pass through continuous charge. Discrete means microscopic level. This continuous means macroscopic level. We are applying for macroscopic only. Actually, diagrammatically we will mention like that maybe, but we are actually taking for macroscopic level. It can pass through any place. But individual, the diagram if you take the individual. Now here I am mentioning individual charges are identified. So it is a discrete diagram. It is a discrete, not a continuous diagram. Continuous diagram means I take the rod and charges are dropped into the circular, the glass rod. Charges are happening everywhere. Now I am applying this glass rod to this. This is called continuous charge for this glass rod or the circular, etc. So from this I can take the Gaussian surface like this. I can divide this in parts. But discrete, if you take a charge, this Gaussian surface should not pass through the charge. So there should not be any charge on the surface. Why? Because we cannot find. Because we cannot find the electric field. There is no electric field formula to find out on the charge. We can't find. We don't know what actually happened. We cannot find electric fields on. We cannot find electric field on the charge. But it can be found outside the charge. But electric fields can be found outside the charge. In this expression, the Q insert term is applicable in the Gauss law. The term Q insert or Q enclosed is applicable to the charges only inside the Gaussian surface. Whereas electric field and electric flux can be because of the charges inside the Gaussian surface and as well as outside the Gaussian surface. The term in Gauss law, the term Q insert is for total of charges only inside the Gaussian surface. Only inside Gaussian surface, not outside Gaussian. But electric fields because of, can be because of charges inside and outside, inside and outside of Gaussian surface, because of inside and outside of the Gaussian surface. The point is important is this point will be multiple times repeated in asked in. And this point is important for the competitive exams. They will ask you this term E related to diagonal will be, and they will ask you charges belong to considered for which case. For electric field, electric flux, outside and inside charges, all charges will be considered. But the two inside term in the Gauss only charges inside the Gaussian surface will be considered. This point is in this expression we have the electric field. What is electric field presence? Is electric field inversely proportional to R square form over here. So if you take the isolated charge, repeat the point here. That is the point I am writing here. If you take the isolated charge Q, a distance equal to R, the electric field is E. Okay, this electric field formula already we have derived before is Q by 4 pi epsilon into R square is the expression for electric field in the vacuum or air. Okay, when R increases, electric field decreases. At infinity, when R is infinity, 1 by infinity is 0, electric field is 0. So whenever this R decreasing, electric field goes on increasing. But on the surface of the charge, if you take the point charge, R is 0, electric field becomes equal to infinity. If you take the isolated charge, I am writing here again. If you take the isolated charge, say Q plus Q, a distance equal to R, the electric field is E given by the formula 1 by 4 pi epsilon into Q by R square. If R is increased, the electric field goes on decreasing. When R becomes infinity, this E is inversely proportional to R square for the given source charge. When R becomes infinity, 1 by infinity 0, electric field becomes equal to 0. Take the distance of any charge, electric field is not there, 0. Next is, if R decreases, what happens? This is a point charge, not actually having any size, point charge. If R decreases, the electric field increases. On the surface, we don't have the formula to calculate because on the surface it becomes infinity. R0 means electric field becomes infinity, but there is no such thing of finding of infinity electric field on the surface of the charges. So we cannot find the electric field on the surface of the charge, we can find only outside the charges. And related to this 50 points, electric field is inversely proportional to R square, that is nothing but equal to Coulomb's inverse square. Coulomb's inverse square, electric field is related to basically what? Electric field is nothing but equal to F by Q naught. Basic definition is force acting for unit charge, test charge. Q naught is equal to C is equal to electric force by charge. What is this F? Force by the charges, unit charge and source charge. So force is depending on what? Coulomb's inverse square. Means F is inversely proportional to R square. Due to the reason electric field is also inversely proportional to R square, means this Gauss law is also depending on the inverse square law. That is related to Coulomb's inverse square law. If Coulomb's law is not obeyed inverse square law, then Gauss law will not obey inverse square. That point is here. Gauss law follows inverse square and depend upon follows Coulomb's inverse. In Gauss law, electric field is inversely proportional to R square, and Coulomb's inverse square also is proportional to R square. If Coulomb's law will not obey inverse square, Coulomb's law will not obey inverse square law. Then Gauss law also will not be obeyed, will not follow. Then Gauss law also will not follow inverse square relation. If Coulomb's law will not obey inverse square law, means F is inversely proportional to R square, T is inverse square. Then Gauss law also not obey inverse. If Coulomb's law deviates from inverse square law, Gauss law also deviates. They use the term deviate, do not obey inverse square law. They say deviate. Deviation is going ahead, means condition is there. Computation will ask you. That means in case you put the Coulomb's inverse square law, if they give F is not inversely proportional to R square, they may give F is inversely proportional to R to the power of n or R to the power of 3 may give. Then also in this case also F will not follow the inverse square law. Same as whatever you have taken now, because E is taken from